Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
We got audio, we got video. Hopefully, do you see us?
I can see you all.
All right, we're just. I was just saying to them, I said, you're probably going to be early rather than right on time, and yet, son of a gun, you're there. Thanks.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Take as much time as you want.
All right. We're just setting up. We've got about 30 people here with us, and we're really excited about spending some time with you and talking. Okay? So thanks.
Sounds good.
All right. So the first thing we wanted to do was we really wanted to congratulate you. I'm going to get out of the way. Yes, people even made some posters for you there.
Oh, you did!
Congratulations on being the National Teacher of the Year. I think that is absolutely awesome.
Oh, you... That is so nice. How on earth did you find time to make posters? You're getting ready to teach here in a week or so.
We have 3 weeks. We're still in the denial stage at the end.
Oh, you are?
So you guys start a little before I leave the day. We always start.
That is so nice of you. Oops, I just lost you.
Did you? All right, we're looking good. I can see you. You lost us completely?
I did. Well, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't know. Well, we can see you at this point if you don't mind not seeing us. All right. I mean, this is a strange crew around the table here, so we'll get started. Let's see.
All right.
I'll see if I can restart us. Okay.
Okay.
Better? Is it safe?
Oh, yep. Now I can see you all again.
Awesome. Say, all right. Now they have to behave.
Yeah.
Well, kind of free flow, Sarah. We wanted to be open and handle question and answers, and so
Absolutely.
Let me turn it over to you, and we'll go with your line. Okay?
That sounds good. Well, first of all, I just want to tell you all once again how excited I am to talk with you. I've gotten a chance to talk with a lot of people who are part of professional organizations, and so it's especially wonderful when I get to talk to teachers. I'm following your hashtag on Twitter, and I did post on there just a little bit ago the poll everywhere information. And Don said that you were kind of familiar with that, and so if you have questions or things that you want me to address, the number that you can text a question to is on the Twitter, so you can do that. Or if you want to also try to kind of multitask here and keep a look at anything that comes across Twitter, and I can address that as well. Just a couple things maybe to get us started, and then I would just love to have a conversation and field any questions that you have about anything related to the National Teacher of the Year or instruction or technology. Just a little bit about my background. I'm a high school English teacher, and I teach in a school system that sounds actually kind of similar to yours. It's a suburban district that's just north of Des Moines, which is the capital city of Iowa. We have about 1,300 students in 3 grades, and we're a pretty large school, and I know that that's not near as large as your school, but we're a pretty large school here in Iowa. I've been teaching all kinds of courses here at the high school. I teach at-risk students, I teach advanced placement, I teach the course that everybody who walks in the door takes, and I teach all kinds of electives. So I have that background. I also have served as the department chair and also a real, I guess, a voice for change and professional development for our building in our district. So I kind of have that experience that I could speak to. And then certainly this new Teacher of the Year experience, which is kind of characterized a lot by getting a message out and having the opportunity not to parade around as the best teacher in the country, but really to represent all of the amazing teachers who are working so hard like all of you are and are really making a difference and looking at 21st century learning and just doing all this important work for kids. So one of the areas that Don mentioned you wanted to perhaps talk about was the use of social networking in the classroom, and I wondered if maybe instead of me just continuing to talk, you might be able to give me some feedback on what you are doing right now, what questions you have, and we can just kind of have a conversation. So I'll just wait for someone to jump in. I still can't see you again, but I can certainly hear you. So. There you are. I see you now.
Not sure why we keep losing it. Sorry, Sarah.
Oh, it's okay. It's
just
fine.
Give me a shout if you lose us, and I'll keep.
Well, this is not social networking, but I just want to say that I saw you give the speech in New Orleans, and you gave a great thing. What a great speech it was. But I want to ask you, were you nervous to be speaking in front of 9,000 or 10,000?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, yeah, I do get a little nervous. I get a little nervous before I do anything, but I have a cousin who's a vocalist, and she performs a lot, and she has this beautiful voice. And I asked her once if she got nervous before she performed, and she said, "Of course I do, Sarah." She said, "Something would be wrong if I didn't." She said, "I'm not scared, but I do get a little bit nervous." And so I think that's a great way to kind of describe those moments, that I am a little nervous, but it's a good kind of nervousness. Not the kind that I'm scared of, though. But probably the thing I do the most in those situations is I imagine some of my colleagues, and I kind of try to see their faces out in that crowd and remember exactly who I'm talking to. And so that really helps me kind of familiarize what I'm doing with people, and so it's not just kind of the tops of 10,000 heads.
Well, it was a great speech, and it's really odd to think that one was in an audience listening to 9,000 people, and to have you heard 100 Central. That's a sort of social network in the oddest way.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's one of the wonderful things. Actually, the first person that I followed on Twitter was one of my favorite authors, Margaret Atwood, and I was just so kind of enamored by what this social networking offers, which is this access to people who generally you would think you don't have access to, and so I think that's certainly a wonderful facet of it. Somebody just asked what my favorite social network is and why. That's a really good question. I use Facebook. I don't know if I love Facebook, but I do use it. I am actually really enjoying Twitter a lot. It's something that I'm just kind of starting to use more and more. And like I mentioned, the access to people I think is really important. And it gives you opportunities to discuss. I'm also really fascinated by the ways I could use Twitter in the classroom. Kind of probably in terms of public note-taking. I can envision, because I'm sure as all of you have several different class periods of the same course, so I might be teaching 3 different sections of sophomores, and we're all reading the Crucible, and I think how great it would be if we had a conversation that students from all 3 classes could contribute to as they're reading their assignment for tomorrow, and we can kind of see where that is. But certainly it's just a starting place. I think that's what's important for us to remember about something like Twitter, is that it's a good place for us to start a conversation, or maybe a good place to house information, but it's really not where the conversation should end, that the conversations have to be a lot more deep than 140 characters. The next question, am I using Twitter in my classroom? Well, I'm not using it in my classroom now, but I really do think that I will when I go back. I had a baby in December, and so when I left the classroom on maternity leave, that bumped right into my Iowa Teacher of the Year sabbatical, which has now bumped right into my National Teacher of the Year sabbatical. And so I am missing my students in my classroom. I do think it's something that I will definitely incorporate when I get back. I think it'll take a little education. I'm going to have to educate my administrators a little bit on it, and the parents as well, because I think at first they're going to be a little nervous about me using Twitter in the classroom. So I'm probably going to have to engage them in some Twitter conversations first. How do I avoid getting overwhelmed with all of this information? I don't know who sent the question. Do you mean the social networking information?
No, just all the internet information that you're looking at. Yeah, social networking, but also all the different tools that we have. I mean, we're just getting tons and tons of
Oh, yep, I see what you're saying. I think it's really about not just engaging in social networking for the sake of engaging in it. And I think this is a great lesson that we as educators can learn ourselves to really teach our students, because I like to oftentimes say a pencil is technology too. It is also a tool that is an extension of us. And so when we think about all of this information and all of these social networking opportunities, I think we need to remember that they should be tools, and that it's really the instructional design that's the most important. And so the way I kind of navigate all of these different tools is to have a very firm compass about instructionally what my goals are. And then I might peruse a lot of different tools, and I might try them out. But I don't feel bad about letting them go. The same way I don't feel bad about not finishing a book that's not working for me. I don't feel compelled to always make it to the end. And so there are ones that definitely that I've let go. I tried Wigio earlier this summer. I was really fascinated by it. I thought it was going to be this thing that was going to make a huge difference in my classroom and in my professional life. And it's just not working quite the way I need it to yet. And so I'm going to let it go until they make some changes. How has technology changed my approach to assessment? Wow, what a great question. In some ways, it has changed it quite a bit, and in some ways it hasn't changed my approach to assessment at all. Again, I would say that the most important thing to me is the instructional design. So one example that I think would be good is probably the only time that technology has caught up to me instead of the other way around. But when I first started teaching, and because I'm an English teacher, and I know this is true for lots of teachers in different disciplines, but I read a lot of student papers. And I would get so frustrated because I would spend all this time reading their papers and put marks in the margin. I would say, good job, or work on your passive voice, or things like that. And then inevitably I would just see students kind of throwing the papers on the floor on their way out, some of them in the garbage, some of them at least put them in their folders, but then when I asked them to turn in a revision, they just changed the date at the top and turned that paper right back in. And I was so frustrated by this. And it was kind of an important moment for me in my teaching, because I could either have looked at this and said, it's those kids. Those kids are not, they're not taking responsibility for their own learning. I'm doing all the work. They're not doing anything. Or I could look at the situation and really honestly ask myself, why are they throwing this in the garbage, and what can I do differently to get them to revise? And so for all of their major papers now, I respond to their writing by talking to them. And I started with audio cassettes, and I would read their papers and talk into an audio cassette. And can I tell you, it was just horrible to manage those. And finally, after a couple of years, my husband told me I had to get rid of all of these tubs of papers. And so I talked to our instructional technology director, and about a week later, she came and she said, I think I've got something for you. She brought me an iPod with a recording device. And so now I create podcasts for all the students. And I can talk to them about their writing, and it's changed my response to them. So now I respond to them like a real reader, and I ask them real questions. And I don't just say right or wrong, good or bad. I'm engaging with them, and I think in treating them like a real writer, they are more willing to engage in the process of revision. So I guess that's maybe a good example of using technology to really drive